Beautiful.
So today's our last day of focusing on the Anapanasati Sutta. You learn things along the way. And of course, we're going to be focusing on this for the rest of our lives because for as long as we're alive, there's breath, there's body, there's feelings, there's mind, and mind creating reality by thinking there's an object out there. So we on Tuesday we did the final four practices. We're going to go back and review them a little. What I want to do is let's just in a moment just experience the entire practice that's being offered in this sutta. And I want to review the last four, which is going to take us to the 7 factors of enlightenment, which we're all going to be dwelling in. And then I'm hoping there's time, because I thought it's like sometimes I forget, I think we forget that these practices are for us, but they're for the whole world. And Thich Nhat Hanh, certainly because he's the one who brought them forward so clearly, and breathe, you are alive, has experienced realms of war that most of us will hopefully never experience. But he wrote a little pamphlet called Be Free Where You Are, a talk given at the Maryland Correctional Institute, which I've read before and which always really deeply moves me. Because he's taking these practices into places that are hard. I looked up the Maryland Correctional Institute this morning, and in 2024, i.e. right now, a group of black correctional officers has just brought a lawsuit against white correctional officers, saying that there's racism, there's discrimination, there's violence. And if that's happening with the correctional officers, then we could imagine what's happening in the prison itself. And Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings are just, it's the same thing that we're doing here. It's so clear. It's like this isn't for some special group of us. He's really teaching this to transform the whole world. So we'll see how we do here. But let's just start with, if you can just take meditation posture. And we'll just experience the sutta. What is the way to develop and practice continuously the method of full awareness of breathing so that the practice will be rewarding and offer great benefit? It is like this, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. The practitioner goes into the forest or to the foot of a tree, to any deserted place, sits stably in the lotus position, holding his or her body quite straight, and practices like this. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in a long breath, I know I am breathing in a long breath. Breathing out a long breath, I know I am breathing out a long breath. Breathing in a short breath, I know I am breathing in a short breath. Breathing out a short breath, I know I am breathing out a short breath. practices like this. And breathing in, I calm my whole body. Breathing out, I calm my whole body. He or she practices like this. And breathing in, I feel joyful. Breathing out, I feel joyful. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I feel happy. Breathing out, I feel happy. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I am aware of my mental formations. Breathing out, I am aware of my mental formations. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I calm my mental formations. Breathing out, I calm my mental formations. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I am aware of my mind. Breathing out, I am aware of my mind. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I make my mind happy. Breathing out, I make my mind happy. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I concentrate my mind. Breathing out, I concentrate my mind. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I liberate my mind. Breathing out, I liberate my mind. He or she practices like this. And breathing in, I observe the impermanent nature of all dharmas. Breathing out, observe the impermanent nature of all dharmas. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I observe the disappearance of desire. And breathing out, I observe the disappearance of desire. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I observe cessation. Breathing out, I observe cessation. He or she practices like this. Breathing in, I observe letting go. Breathing out, I observe letting go. He or she practices like this. Full awareness of breathing, if developed and practiced continuously according to these instructions, will be rewarding and of great benefit. And section 4 in the sutta goes on to say, if you do this, the 7 factors of awakening, you will abide in the 7 factors of awakening. Mindfulness, the investigation of dharmas. Alive, what is it? Third, the factor of energy. The more you practice, the more alive and awake, the more you want to practice and be curious and alive and awake. The fourth, joy. Inexplicably, in the midst of all of it, joy arises. And then ease, and a deepening concentration, and a letting go, and more a feeling of equanimity. Complete liberation wherever you are. Including, Thich Nhat Hanh suggests to us, not just for distant monks and bikinis and people practicing in monasteries, but even in the Maryland Correctional Institute. He talks about liberating energy. I like all of them. I'm not going to read you all of it because I can't, but this always moves me, so I'm going to read you parts of it. Because I think it's the same thing that we just did. It's everywhere and it's accessible. And it's skillful means. It's always skillful means. You probably can't, in many situations, say, go up to somebody and say, breathing in and breathing out. But we can breathe in and breathe out, and that changes everything. And we can also, wherever we are, find ways to going into skillful nursing facilities and into hospitals and breathing in, breathing out. It begins, dear friends. I wrote the following poem during the war in Vietnam after the town of Ben Tre was bombed by the United States Air Force. Ben Tre is the hometown of my colleague's sister Chan Kong. The U.S. forces completely destroyed the town because there were 5 or 6 guerrillas there. Boy, doesn't this feel like, wow, it just goes on. Later on, one officer declared that he had to bomb and destroy Ben Tre to save it from communism. This poem is about my anger. I hold my face in my 2 hands. No, I am not crying. I hold my face in my 2 hands to keep my loneliness warm. 2 hands protecting, 2 hands nourishing, 2 hands preventing my soul from leaving me in anger. I was very angry. It was not just my anger, but the anger of a whole nation. Anger is a kind of energy that makes us and the people around us suffer. As a monk, when I get angry, I practice caring for my anger. I don't allow it to cause suffering or to destroy me. If you can take care of your anger and be able to find relief, you will be able to live happily with much joy. He just is teaching us sutra. Oh good, I'm glad you get it. Okay, so on we go. Then, next part's called the liberating energy. I take care of my anger. To take care of my anger, I first go back to my breathing. And I look deeply inside me. Right away, I notice that there's an energy called anger in me. And then I recognize that I need another kind of energy to take care of this anger and to invite that energy to come up to do that job. And this second energy is called mindfulness. Every one of us has the seed of mindfulness within us. If we know how to touch that seed, we can begin to generate the energy of mindfulness. With the energy of mindfulness, we can take good care of the energy of anger. Mindfulness is a kind of energy that helps us to be aware of what is going on. Everyone is capable of being mindful. We would use these practices working with returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. We'd use similar practices with wildlife firefighters. We all need this. Those of us who practice daily have a greater capacity for being mindful than those who do not. Those who do not practice still have the seed of mindfulness, but its energy is very weak. So, by practicing just 3 days, the energy of mindfulness will already increase. 3 days. Then he goes on, there can be mindfulness in everything you do. Drinking a cup of water, walking mindfully, going from one place to another. When you eat, practice mindfulness. When I bite into the string bean, I am aware that this is a string bean that I'm going to put into my mouth. Next heading, cultivating freedom. For me, there is no happiness without freedom, and freedom is not given to us by anyone. We have to cultivate it ourselves. I will share with you how we get greater freedom for ourselves. During the time that we sit, walk, eat, or work outside, we cultivate our freedom. Freedom is what we practice every day. No matter how or where you find yourself, if you have freedom, you are happy. Can you imagine the crowd he's saying this to?
Yeah.
I have many friends who spent time in forced labor camps, and because they know how to practice, they did not suffer so greatly. In fact, they grew in their spiritual lives, for which I am very proud of them. You can practice freedom every moment in your daily life. By cultivating freedom for yourself, you will be able to help the people you live with. Talking to Lee Lesser, Jarvis Masters, who many of you may know, who's been on death row since he was 19, and he's 60 or something now, and he's never, I think this is what she said, is he's never been unhandcuffed in a little cell, and because he's been on death row at San Quentin, and they're trying to make San Quentin now a model prison that Newsom is, and send people out, but you just realized it, and that Jarvis Masters became a practitioner and was able to send out books and to help other people who had far less freedom than he did on a physical level. Even though you live in the same place with the same physical and mental conditions, if you practice, you will be a much freer person, a more solid person. Watching the way you walk and sit and eat. Other people will see joy and happiness in you and will want to be like you. That's how you can help people. And then, to be able to breathe in and out is a miracle. A person on his or her deathbed cannot breathe freely, and he or she will soon stop breathing. But I am alive. I can breathe in and become aware of my in-breath. I can breathe out and become aware of my out-breath. So when you breathe in, be aware of your in-breath. Breathing in, I know this is my in-breath. No one can prevent you from enjoying your in-breath. When you breathe out, be aware that this is your out-breath. Breathe as a free person. For me, to be alive is a miracle. It is the greatest of all miracles. To feel that you are alive and are breathing in is to perform a miracle, one that you can perform at any time. Feeling that you are alive and that you are taking a step is a miracle. Everyone walks on the earth, but there are those who walk like slaves with no freedom at all. They are sucked in by the future or by the past, and they are not capable of dwelling in the here and now, where life is available. If we get caught up in our worries, our despair, our projects, our regrets about the past, and our fears of the future in our everyday lives, we are not free people. We are not capable of establishing ourselves in the here and the now. Next little heading, touching the miracles. Just be here. We run away into the future. We go back into the past. We cannot be in touch with the many wonders of life. We cannot be in the present moment where there is healing, transformation, and joy. Remember, he's talking to hardened criminals in an extremely, unimaginably difficult situation. And he's talking to us, because suffering is suffering. We all just have our own way of doing it. And as we practice, become the miracle. He says, you are the miracle. Dear friends, you are nothing less than a miracle. There may be times when you feel that you are worthless, but you are nothing less than a miracle. The fact that you are here, alive and capable of breathing in and out is ample proof that you are a miracle. One string bean contains the whole cosmos in it. Sunshine, rain, the whole earth, time, space, and consciousness. You also contain the whole cosmos. And then he says, breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I notice that my in-breath has become deeper. And breathing out, I notice that my out-breath has become slower. Breathing in, I calm myself. Breathing out, I feel at ease. Breathing in, I smile. Breathing out, I release. Breathing in, I dwell in the present moment. Breathing out, I feel it is a wonderful moment. These verses can be summarized in the following way. In, out. Deep, slow. Calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. And then he goes on to essentially teach the secret in more depth, but skillfully. So that somebody doesn't feel like they're laying some Buddhist thing on top of them. It's just teaching them how to live and what freedom is. So, why don't we go into little groups? Just talk about what you've learned, what is freedom, any resistance that comes up about this. That always feels important. When I'm feeling not calm, I usually don't like it if people tell me to breathe in and out and be calm. So how do we be skillful with ourselves, and how do we just keep coming around and standing beside ourselves and in the center of ourselves and with and for the whole world? So, and anything in this practice that, why doesn't each person just take I'll put you in groups of 3 minutes, just to, often just talking, just hearing yourself talk, is things come up that you didn't even know that was there.